Namaste and welcome to ReactBits. Today we are continuing on with our automation script with Dart. So in the last episode we wrote a script with which we were able to automate the process of creating a GitHub repository. So in this episode we will complete the script by adding more functionality. So here we'll add few more functionalities. First, we'll create a new Flutter project, then initialize Git, we'll create our first commit, and then we'll create the GitHub repository using this script we already wrote. Then we'll add this GitHub repository remote origin to our Flutter project, and then finally push the code to the master branch. All this with our automated script, so that from next time, whenever you create a new Flutter project, create a GitHub repository, initialize Git and push, you can just do that in one line or one single command. So let's start. First, we'll create a function called create Flutter project. And here we need a name of the project, and also we'll need a username to set the remote repository. Okay. Now we need to call this here create Flutter project, and project name will be username is username. So we call this here using DCLI. So we are using DCLI to write our script. So it has quite a lot of functionalities, and one of those is we can run any command line applications from DCLI. So in order to run any command line applications, we can simply write, so if we want to create a Flutter project, Flutter create $name of the project, and we can simply call dot run in our string. So this will run this string as a command line commands. Okay, and this will run a Flutter command and pass these things as arguments to our Flutter command. So we can add any arguments that Flutter supports in this statement. Next, once we create, so this command will be run in the present working directory, that is pwd. And if we want to run in other directory, so what we can do? Next, we need to git init. And this time we need to do it inside this newly created folder by Flutter create. So we don't want to do this in the present working directory. In order to do that, we can use start command provided by DCLI, and here we can pass working directory, and that will be our current directory / name, right? Once we have git init, then git add dot again start directory will be same. And finally, let's copy this. Once we add, we can write our first commit -m. Let's write first commit, and then finally let's copy this one more time. Here we want to add the remote, git remote add origin, and now we need to construct our URL, that will be git add.com $username / project name, right? Project name is name. So this will add the origin remote, and here I'm using this SSH base URL, and I'm not being able to work with HTTPS based URL when automatically trying to push, because it requires username and password. However, if you set up SSH and use this SSH based URL, you will no longer require username and password while pushing, so it works directly. you can learn how you can set these SSH keys in GitHub if you look at the GitHub documentations. Now here what we did, we created a Flutter project, then we ran git init, git add all files, git commit first commit, then we added the remote. Now we need to create GitHub repository. So after completing this, we create GitHub repository, and finally we need to push git push origin master dot start, and again the working directory will be so here it will be $$ project name. Okay, so one more thing we need to do is, in the last part what we did was, when we created new, we clicked on the create repository button, we simply closed our browser, and if we closed while testing, we did not close this browser, so it was working. However, if we close this browser before this page reloads, then repository creation will not have been successful. This is because we did not wait for the navigation. So whenever we click on this button, if the create repository is successful, we navigate to another page. So we need to wait for that, and for that we can do future.wait, and in here we can pass multiple futures. First one, second one will be this, and first one will be page.wait for navigation, sorry, comma. So here what we are doing, we are waiting for navigation, and then we are clicking this. So this future, this combination of these two future will not complete until the page has navigated itself, so that our project is successfully created. We also need to wait for navigation to complete after tapping on the login button. So here again we need to do future.wait, and instead of this we also need to wait for navigation. So then we can move on to push our code to the remote repository. Now let us see this in action first, then we'll see how we can build and install this in our path, so that we can run it from anywhere without having to give the complete path. So here let us try this. So let's give it a name as automated Flutter project. Let's tap enter. It will take some time because we are running it directly without compiling. So username is fine. Let me add my password. I've added my password. So it has created a new Flutter project. We can see it here. The folder is created. All done. It should initialize git and create a first commit. See, it has initialized git, created first commit. Now it's trying to log in. It has logged in. It's creating the project. It's waiting until the navigation is successful. Then it has closed. Finally, see, it has pushed to the new branch. Now if I go to my GitHub, so here, and this new project is automated Flutter project, I can see that the project is created, it's private, and it has pushed my first commit. All right. So this is how easy it is to run command line applications from Dart using DCLI. And I'm quite happy that I'm able to automate my project creation in such a simple steps. And finally, what I can do is I can create an executable of this create GitHub so that I can run it from anywhere without needing to provide the path of this file. So what we can do using DCLI compile, install, create GitHub. So instead of create GitHub, let's give it a meaningful name now. FL create. So flutter create, we want to give it a name. FL create. If I tap enter, this should compile this FL create, create an executable and add it to our path so that we can run it from anywhere. So if I create a new terminal, let's say I move on to home directory and I run which, so FL create, then it finds FL create at my home directory DCLI bin FL create. So now I can run it from anywhere. FL, let's test it. FL create automated flutter 2. So username, password, it's running. So it has created new flutter project, git initialized, committed. It will take some time to run. So it's running. See, it has completed repo creation. Now it will push. So it has pushed in the new project. And thank you everyone for watching this tutorial. So in this episode, we learned how to automatically run command line apps from Dart script so that we were able to create our Flutter project, initialize Git, get our first commit and push, add remote and then push it to the remote repository. So this is our complete project workflow automated. And if we like, so what we can do is in the next line, code project name. So we can use this command to open our project in the VS Code as well, because every time we create a project, we do these minimal things. That is, we initialize Git, create a GitHub repository and push our code to GitHub repository. Then we open it in Visual Studio Code so that we can work with our project. Thank you everyone. See you again in the next episode.